All right, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you're all enjoying this. I guess spring has finally joined us today after a few cold weeks. I am Paul Pennell with Urban Design Partners. We are a civil engineering and landscape architecture firm assisting Mally Colavita, who is also on this call, with a rezoning petition Z-22-03-003 along Flemingfield Road. Mally, would you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Mally Colavita. Paul, can you hear me all right?
I sure can.
Okay, great. Just checking. I thought the camera would pop on, but I think it's probably better for everyone else that I'm not on the camera. My name is Mally Colavita. I'm a residential developer located in Charlotte. Have been in the Carolinas for over 20 years now, specializing in residential lot development throughout the Carolinas. Very excited to meet all of you. Appreciate all of you attending, and look forward to your questions, and hopefully look forward to getting to know you as we work through this process together.
Yeah, thank you, Mally. Let's see. So we are going to roll right into some quick housekeeping things here, but I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the site location. Just an existing site picture of the site today. You can kind of see the driveway into Talon Drive there. But before we get started, I'm going to jump to the next slide here. And just as we go through this process, if you have any questions during the presentation, it's just a brief presentation that we've prepared for today. If you have any questions, just feel free to type it in the chat. You'll see on your screen, there should be a little thought bubble, little speaking bubble there in chat. You click on that, type your question in. And on the back end of the presentation, we'll go through some of those chat questions that you may have. And then at the back end of this, we can kind of, in as a organized fashion as possible, unmute and we can go through and maybe have a discussion about any questions that you all may have. All right. So jumping in. So as a landscape architect and land planner, when petitioners ask for sites to be rezoned, there's many different design considerations that we take into account. This site is no different. So that list would include taking into account the existing site conditions. That would be topography, environmental conditions that may be on site, for example, wetlands and streams, existing trees. Jurisdictions have tree save requirements. We have to keep a certain percentage of trees on site. So this site is no different. Including the City of Greensboro zoning ordinance. We have to follow those design guidelines. The 2040 comprehensive plan, we've dug through that information and we've taken that into account. Proximity to the existing adjacent East Market Street corridor, unified development ordinance, public and community input, which we are doing here today as we understand it, or as we were directed by the Greensboro Planning Department. A community meeting in this particular instance is voluntary. So of course it's highly encouraged. So we wanted to send everyone here a mailer, same instance as if it were a required community meeting. So we just wanted to get everything out here so everyone knew what was being planned on the east side of Flemingfield Road. The development pro forma, of course, we need to take into account what Mally is looking to achieve here on this particular site from a unit count and residential type standpoint. City input. So we have a prepared illustrative site sketch included in our presentation that shows what we are proposing at this location. We have submitted that to the City of Greensboro, and we have had a sketch plan review with city staff, including engineering, planning, Department of Transportation. Gosh, Mally, there might have been in that meeting 10 different departments that were representing that discussed with us the site plan and provided us some feedback on what would need to change prior to submitting, hopefully, land development drawings, construction documents on the site. Green space and natural areas, of course, and then incorporation of any amenity areas into the site plan as well. So again, just to get everyone familiar with where this location is, it's directly adjacent Talon Drive along Flemingfield Road. The red outline is signifying the location of the parcel that we are currently taking a look at that's in question. And then the site today is currently zoned AG. So it's surrounded by some pockets of Greensboro and some higher density uses, which is what is spurring the desire or the request here for a rezoning petition. Also, taking a look at the Greensboro 2040 Comprehensive Plan, this site has been identified as a general urban area just north of the development corridor along Market. So again, the red line there is signifying the location that this particular development is located. So what is being requested here? So this is a zoning petition that has no associated conditional site plan with it, but we do have some development conditions that we are incorporating into the zoning petition. So right now, the intent of this rezoning is for 60 residential units. These would be townhome units. So these are individual buildings that have multiple row style residential units located within each building. Again, this is 60 residential townhomes on the parcel of land that's 8.7 acres. So when you take 60 residential units, divide that into, or 8.75, which is the acreage, into the 60 residential units, you're looking at a density here of 6.9 dwelling units per acre. That's 6.9 DUA. So it's a fairly low dense project considering other townhome developments we have been involved in the past. So 6.9 DUA, 60 residential townhomes. The two conditions that we are incorporating into this petition is to limit the development to 69 units. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because in the development, in the rezoning district that we're requesting here, we could actually have quite a bit more residential units. Those are not necessary. We're not asking for that. We're asking for 60. So per the direction of the Greensboro Planning Department, they had requested for us to limit the development to 69 units. Also, these would be a product that, or a residential product type that would limit the maximum height on site to 40 feet, and that would be to the very top of the roof. So those are the two development conditions that we have incorporated, and that is based on feedback that we have received from the Greensboro Planning Department. And with that, like I said, it's a brief presentation here tonight, so we can go ahead and open this up to any questions that anyone may have. I'm going to jump back here to the site plan. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the chat here to see if any questions have been asked. But also, I'm going to ask Mally Colavita, do you have anything that you would like to add to this presentation tonight before we jump into any questions from the community?
I do. I would like to point out that the intention of the product here, the townhomes that we're looking to develop will be two-story townhomes, averaging 1,500 square feet, and would be a one-car garage with a 20-foot setback, so having room for a second car in the driveway as well. I'm sure those are a lot of questions, just talking through the architecture here and some items that were raised at the public hearing, just to clarify that these are two-story townhomes for sale, not for rent.
Thank you, Mally. And with that, got a few people on the call here. Hopefully it won't be a mad dash here for questions, but if anyone has a question, we would be happy to oblige and try and clarify any questions you may have. Probably should mention that you would need to click the unmute button. Oh, I see someone has got their hand raised. Let's see here. Here we go. Yes, go ahead. You should be able to speak into your mic. Hi.
This is LaTanya.
Hi, LaTanya.
So, hi, how are you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. So, if I heard you and understood you correctly, you're just saying that these are townhome only, not single family homes?
That is correct. These are townhomes only within this proposed development. Yes.
And so how many entrances would there be to this development?
There would be two entrances. One will align with Talon, and then another one will be down Flemingfield Road, north of the Talon intersection that would be proposed there. So two entrances along Flemingfield.
Okay. So I guess my second question would be, does the first entrance necessarily have to be off of Talon Drive? And I ask that question because it is a narrow passage, as you know. It's only 2-lane road there. And our community, which is Eagle Trace across, as you said, the west side of the development, or Flemingfield, only has one entrance into it. So my concern is the congestion of the entrances there, coming in and out of the neighborhood, and all the traffic that it would entail by that other community being directly across.
That's a great question. So we work very closely with the North Carolina Department of Transportation on multiple projects across the state. And in this particular instance, the North Carolina Department of Transportation is going to require that we align an entrance into this development with that existing public road. The good news is here, it is 2 lanes, yes, but you already have a turn lane here, which is actually, I'm going to say, really remarkable that that's actually some roadway infrastructure that's already in place. As people are going north on Flemingfield Road and turning left onto Talon, as we move through this development process, I would actually suspect that NCDOT in this particular instance at this location may possibly require a right turn lane to be included as well. So you would have a through movement, you would have a left turn onto Talon, and then you would have a dedicated, potentially dedicated right turn lane into this development as well, to allow people to freely flow going northbound on Flemingfield Road. So these are details that we will work through as the plan continues to develop. But we'll be working with the North Carolina Department of Transportation to ensure that this is a safe location for vehicular traffic. Let's see here. So we've got another comment here. Hello, I live on Eagle Trace. The entrance is directly in front of ours. This will be a traffic nightmare. Is there any provision for moving that or making Flemingfield Road wider? So I think I might have just inadvertently answered that question with the potential of a right turn lane and how we're going to continue to be working with NCDOT on this particular location to clearly identify what Department of Transportation is going to require at this location. Mally, we've got a question here. What will be the selling price of these townhomes? And also you may be able to follow up, will this neighborhood be sold to investors? I think that maybe we can be a little, can you ask that in a little bit more of a specific way? I think that I know what you're asking, I think, and maybe that could mean lots of things these days, but I think everyone wants clarity here, Mally.
Sure. Yeah, I think starting with the first question, obviously just if the homes were to be sold today, which is as good as we can estimate without anything changing in the market, right now they are slated to start selling at $300,000 a piece. And the neighborhood, no, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it will not be sold to investors. The intention here is that the townhomes will be sold to individual buyers. And there will be, as always, and as you may have in your community across the street or wherever you may live, covenants and restrictions, as well as an HOA that will ensure that even down the road, that only a very small percentage of units may be allowed as a rental. That's always a cap that we put on the whole of the communities to ensure that it does not become inundated with renters. The intention is that this will be a for sale product starting in the low 300s.
Thank you, Melly. I don't have any more questions in the chat. Does anyone else that's in attendance tonight have any other questions about this petition? Yes, Robin, you want to go ahead and unmute?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering why y'all chose this area.
Oh, well, that's a good question. Mally, you might want to, Mally, you're probably a better person to answer that than I.
Sure. Robin, I would say that a lot of the business that I do here in North Carolina has been in Greensboro for a number of years. It's certainly a market that I feel very comfortable working within. I went to college just down the street a large number of years ago, so I'm very familiar with the area. I've worked in the market and obviously have worked with the municipality before, and this was an opportunity where I felt as though both sides of Flemingfield have very quickly been rezoned, and I see the potential for growth and opportunity here. And obviously, as housing begins to push out along the eastern corridor of Greensboro.
Thank you, Robin. Joe, I see Joe has typed in a question. I will read it for everybody so everyone's familiar with what it is. There are 2 other communities being built along Flemingfield, one just north and one just south of your development. I think something needs to be discussed with NCDOT about the development of Flemingfield sooner rather than later. Yet, Joe, we will certainly be engaging NCDOT and Greensboro Engineering as we move forward with this process. That you are absolutely right. We will be speaking with them. Mally, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's also important to point out that any of the other developments that are either proposed or in the process of moving forward on Flemingfield Road also have to go through the NCDOT process. So they are very particular about what their conditions are. They are most aware of what's proposed along Flemingfield Road, certainly more than I am in terms of what their long range plans are, in addition to developments that we just may not be aware of yet. So I think that they are, we lean on them as the expert to tell us what the traffic conditions will warrant and where the improvements need to be made and what those improvements are. They have a very extensive process, and it's certainly not a quick one. They take their time in ensuring that each development has its own criteria for improvements to ensure that even if one were to happen or not to happen, that the improvements that are needed along Flemingfield aren't hinged on any one development. So I think we'll know a lot more about this one in particular, albeit probably pretty small in comparison to some of the other projects, but we certainly anticipate that we're going to have to make our contribution to improvements along Flemingfield as they're needed and as this corridor grows.
Thank you, Mally. We have another follow-up question here. Is there a possibility of a phase 2 expansion of this townhome community?
Not to my knowledge, no. That's not the intention, and it's certainly not. I don't think it's very viable. I believe the surrounding land has already been either sold or is under contract or has been approved through rezonings previously. We were just kind of the last one to the table, so I believe this is the last piece that is not already approved for a rezoning, and I'm not involved with any of the other parcels.
Thank you, Mally. I appreciate that. Does anyone else have any questions that they would like to share with us? I do not have any more questions in the chat.
I'm sorry, excuse me. I had my hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Latanya. I thought that was left over from the first time you had your hand up. Please, I'm so sorry. Please, by all means.
No, that's okay. So, as part of the board for Eagles Chase, I'm on the board there for the HOA, and one of our concerns was that our neighborhood has a pool, and we've had issues in the past with other neighborhoods, coming over and trespassing. So my question is, will this neighborhood have its own pool, or that's excluded from the design?
I would say at this time there's not a plan for a pool, and the reason being is that this is a relatively small community. 60 townhomes usually does not have or warrant the need for a pool, and a lot of times just the cost of maintaining a pool, as I'm sure you know, being on the board across the street, it is a burden to the HOA and it's a burden to the residents. So there's typically a threshold that the community would need to be about twice the size in order to afford a pool and the maintenance of the pool. This would be too small for that type of amenity. So the amenity would be more passive. I would say we would look to add walking trails. We would look to add a dog park. We would look to have open playing fields, maybe a playground or grills or a gazebo, things along those lines that we think would be a little bit more affordable for just a smaller number of residents.
Okay, and so just one more question. So I saw the diagram of the residents of the community. So it's not extending to the backside, which is Willow, I think it's Willow Lake Road. It's not going that far, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it is Willow Lake Road. Yes, that is correct. But it is not extending. It is not extending to that road. David, I think you may have been kind of clearing your throat to ask a question, maybe. I'm just guessing here. Mr. Michaels, or do you have a question? All right, I will mute Mr. Michaels. I've got another question here in the chat. Let's see, is there an estimate of HOA dues and what may it cover for that community?
That is a very good question. Brian, I think I would need to get back to you on that. I am not 100% sure of what those HOA dues would cost right now. I would be guessing without knowing a little bit more information, just with honestly just being a little bit more in touch with what the HOA dues are going for in a community of this size at this point. I would love to get your contact information and I'll let you know as soon as we have a better idea. But you know, the HOA dues, as I'm sure maybe in your community, are run by a management company. Obviously, the management company has various fees and scopes of work, and the HOA would work with the management company in order to determine what level of service they would need. So there are a lot of things that I think are up to the homeowners association before being able to determine what those dues would cost and exactly what they would cover.
Brian, if you'd like, maybe send Mally, there you go. Yep, I'll send you info. There we go. Good. Send Mally a direct chat and y'all can get that cleared up after our meeting. I have no more chat questions. Are there any other questions with everyone that is joining us tonight? We're coming up on about 30 minutes here and happy to answer any follow-up questions you may have. All right. Well, hearing no new questions, it is almost 6 o'clock on a very nice day here. I'm sure we all have dinner plans.
Sir, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tony. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, please.
What is the estimation of to begin this project?
That is a good question. So the next 2 months we'll be going through wrapping up the rezoning process with Greensboro. After that, we would go into a construction document development phase where we would pull together essentially land development documents to move forward with construction. I would estimate probably another 5 to 6 months for permitting, and then construction would begin sometime after that. So pending a favorable rezoning vote from council and a land development approval, I would say maybe within the next 9 months or so, give or take, some work could start out here. Mally, any idea on about how long the construction of the townhomes might take?
Oh, I think the site development and the total construction timeline would be likely 2.5 years.
All right. Then we've got another one. Let's see, square, let's see, Kesha, square footage of the homes was a question. And also how many different designs and floor plans?
Sure, I think I mentioned earlier, estimated to be roughly 1,500 square feet. And floor plans will vary through maybe half a dozen different versions of those 1,500 square feet, depending on layout, interior, end unit, etc.
All right. Do we have any more questions this evening?
Sir,
Yes.
this is Robin again.
Robin?
I'm sorry. I think you might have thought my hand raising was from last time too.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, not a problem. I was just curious, and I'm not sure if you can answer my question. I was informed a few months ago about another development that I believe is going to be backing up to what would be the north side of your development. I didn't know if you had any information on that development as well.
So I do not have any specifics on that. Melly, are you aware of any specifics?
I don't believe so. How are you referring to the north side? You mean, so if we're looking at the plan here, you're saying
Yes.
that left side?
Yes.
The left side would be the north side in this in orientation to north arrow down here.
I think you may be able to reach out to, and Paul, maybe we can provide the contact information for
Lucas Carter.
Lucas Carter, exactly. And he may be able to help. He has a much better grasp on what's been proposed and what's been approved and where other projects are, if there's anything going on over there.
Let's see here.
I was just wondering, I own the property on Willow Lake that backs up to this property.
So I would encourage you to reach out to Lucas Carter. He is with the Greensboro Planning Department, and I can give you his email address here. It is lucas.carter, CARTER, at greensboro-nc.gov. G-O-V. So lucas.carter at greensboro-nc.gov. He should be able to keep you abreast to any new potential plans that have been submitted over to Greensboro for review. He will be the in the know person.
Would that include properties on Willow Lake Road?
I would think that it would include any properties that are within the city of Greensboro or any potential pieces of property that may be annexed into the city of Greensboro. So he should know everything that's going on.
Okay. Can I ask another question right quick?
Of course.
I'm sorry. How close are you to, or how close are you building to the creek that's running through that area over there?
That is a great question. So the property line, at least at one point in time that you can see on the plan north side here, which would be the east side, is actually the center line of creek. So we are planning to stay away from that by quite a good bit. A lot of that is going to be undisturbed with the exception of the stormwater basin that we're showing here that would actually capture any stormwater on site and hold it over a period of time, and then slowly release stormwater over 3-4 days before it makes it to the creek.
Okay. And where you are going to have access to city water and sewer?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That was all I had.
Of course. All right. Do we have any more questions? right, everybody. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us to have a discussion about this zoning petition along Flemingfield Road. We certainly appreciate your time and your input, and really appreciate you joining us tonight. Again, I'm Paul Pennell with Urban Design Partners and Mally Colavita, the petitioner
Thank you
here,
so much.
and really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Have a great night.